Hi, my name is Dorie Clay and I'm the director of the SEEK program at New York City College of Technology. I've been in this position for nearly 5 years. I've been at the college for 26. And this is the first position where I've had a sizable staff of 10 professionals and several dozen part-timers that I had to help develop into a team, and it was a significant challenge for me. Some of the people on the SEEK staff knew me, but by and large they inherited me and I inherited them. I would say that that's the first challenge that I had. They didn't know me, they didn't know my work style, and I certainly didn't know them. My most significant challenge was that I walked into a situation that had been, for lack of a better word, relatively leaderless. So I think that one of the first challenges was helping the staff to understand that it was a new day and that there were new interests and designs that were going to take place within the program. I frankly had asked the staff to assume responsibility for an area of the program that they hadn't had to assume before, and so that was our most significant challenge. And as you know, we encountered resistance to that change. Took many forms. I was, until we had some training, I was not aware at how entrenched people had been in the status quo. And I came in and had an agenda, a mandate in fact, from the people that I report to create some change within the program. And while I thought that we were managing it fairly well, it became clear, perhaps a year in, that the buy-in that people articulated simply wasn't there. At the level of real commitment, it just fell short. And that's when I decided to bring in a consultant, frankly. We were spending an inordinate amount of time on what I consider to be very small, petty, internecine warfares between and among staff people, between staff and me, and it was just draining us from our ability to serve the students. That is our principal charge. Having met Ouida Vendryes at a staff retreat for the directors of SEEK program that the City University had organized, I was immediately impressed with her ability to meet certain challenges, one of which is a disengaged group. We, myself included, were among some directors who had some difficulty accepting an agenda that had been imposed on us for this retreat, and we turned on a dime. And she was really able to engage us, and I was so impressed by that immediately I came back to campus and spoke to the associate director and said, I think we need to bring somebody in to help us work through these issues, and I know just the person. And that's our history with resolution management. Well, I think the first thing that she did was she had conversations with each and every member of the staff. She did a serious assessment of their sense of the workplace, what the issues were, and used that to customize our very first session, which was we were working on effective team building. And I believe we were talking about the lack of trust, and we started by evaluating effective teams and whether or not we measured up to effective teams. And we were using Lecione's 5 dysfunctional teams, and we found ourselves dysfunctional in each and every area, to my surprise. And I think that, so we started at the base. We started really with building trust, and I think we had, over a year, we had 3 or 4 sessions where we worked on the areas of building trust. Most significantly, we learned about one another. I think that we were provided several instruments. Chief among them, for me, the most important one was the DISC, which helped us understand people's preferred work styles and behaviors at work. And it was a way in for me to have the staff know who I was and have a better sense of how and why I worked the way I did. But certainly for me, it helped me know how our staff prefers to have communications, how they prefer, what kind of time frame they need to process new information, new strategies, and how to engage them. And I found that enormously effective for me. I think the thing that stays with us is that we worked on an effective problem-solving methodology that has infused every single one of our planning meetings, regular staff meetings, since we learned the techniques. And I don't think that, I think over time we've shortened some of them. We're able to go through them without it being so, clearly defined, here are the 6 steps, but we work on effective problem solving. I think that I began to notice after maybe 3 sessions that people were really engaging one another and challenging one another to be accountable to what we said, to what we had agreed on. We created actual rules of engagement for the group. Again, over time, over the last year, I would say that people reflect on them, they utilize them, but they're not sort of as self-conscious about them as they were when we first learned them. It's just part of the fabric of our team at this point. Now, there have been 1 or 2 additional staff members added. There's been a significant retirement, but I would say that the team is engaged in ways that I only dreamed about, to be perfectly honest. There is this sense that we can do almost anything, and people are enthusiastic, is the word that I'd like to say, about the work that they do and how we work as a team. And I think that I see much more interaction between and among staff members. We have significantly changed the paradigm for the program in that we are based on a counseling services and academic services model. And there used to be tremendous, I would say, not a lot of engagement between the 2 service areas. And now we've created methods of communicating back and forth about our students, because we found that everybody is committed to students, that the idea of a holistic approach to supporting students so that they could be successful in college at City Tech was at bottom the one thing that everybody could agree on. And using that commitment, we have really worked very hard to, all of the other issues are not even secondary anymore. I have to say that many of them have disappeared, that we are very aware of how to speak to one another, and if there are issues, they're raised in a timely fashion. I think we're in a really good place, and I think that a year and a half from now, were you to come back, you would see even greater growth, because we are turning all of the energy that used to be involved in this sort of little warfares into developing a better program for our students.